After 3 incredible weeks in Japan, exploring and eating so much amazing food, sadly it's our very last day, and we thought we'd celebrate our last day with a mini ramen crawl. So that's ramen for breakfast, lunch and dinner.
First stop, ramen at Yashichi. We're starting our Osaka ramen crawl at Yashichi to try their chicken broth shoyu flavoured ramen. Oh my god, it looks so good. That broth is so infused with chicken flavour. So these guys add extra cartilage and extra chicken skin to their broth, and they just simmer it for hours and hours, and that chicken flavour is just so strong. So the ramen comes with the noodles, obviously, a slice of char siu, which is pork that's been simmered in a mirin and a soy. There's diced onion, spring onion, and half a soft boiled egg, which has the perfect yolk. I'm going to get in and try the noodles. They're quite thick, they look so bouncy. The perfect texture, still a little bit chewy, and that quite thick milky broth just coats them. This is the perfect start to our ramen crawl in Osaka.
I'm going to go straight in and try the broth. It's formed a bit of a skin on top, like a gravy would. Oh my god. I just dribbled because this is so good. Think of the best roast chicken you've ever had. Think of the next best roast chicken you've ever had, and the next best one. Put them all together so you've got all the different flavors. And oh my gosh, it's so rich. It's got a perfect saltiness. This is the best breakfast I could ever dream of having. I think we need to stop filming and just get into this, because we can't let this go to waste. They say you have 7 minutes before your ramen's kind of past its best. Our clock is ticking way too fast.
So this is the chicken broth ramen, but it's been flavoured with shoyu, which is soy sauce. And like Thomas says, it is insane. Yashichi is often voted as the best ramen joint in Osaka, and I can totally see why. It is just wild. We got the tip to come here from our mate BKK Betty. Check out his channel up there, we'll link it up above. And while you're there, subscribe to us if you're enjoying our content. This is how I felt about that ramen in a dance. That was so good! Ramen for lunchtime, Mitsukabozu for their MISO ramen. I have ordered the Osaka style miso ramen. The broth is a lot lighter than the first one that we had. It looks really stunning. That miso flavor is so strong. So miso is fermented bean paste, and you can really taste it in that broth. So my ramen has got pieces of char siu, which is sliced pork belly, tendrils of spring onion, some sprouts, the noodles, and I've also been given a little bit more miso if I want to make it a bit stronger, some peas, which I'm just going to add, and I think this is seaweed, so I'm going to add that too. I've got to try some of these noodles. Again, perfect bite. There's so much chew in the noodles. I love the firm noodle. That broth is so light but so packed with flavour. It is stunning.
I've gone with the KYOTO style white miso broth. I'm gonna go straight in and try this broth. It looks so thick. Oh wow. If you've ever had a miso soup, very, very common at a Japanese restaurant, this is like a really punchy miso soup. It's got, strangely, a little bit of spiciness going on in there. Just coats your mouth. Wow, that is so deep and rich in its flavour. I'm gonna have to get some noodles in because they're just coated in that broth. And there's also spring onions in here, pork or chasu. I got an egg with mine because I have to always have an egg with ramen. It's not ramen for me without the egg. But let's try these noodles. Remember, you can slurp. Oh my gosh. They are like silky smooth, coated, thick coating from that broth. Wow. And it also came with these balls on a stick. I don't know what they are. Oh, one just fell off, but I'll try this one. Maybe it's pork. I think it's pork. It tastes kind of gingery. Yeah, it must be pork. That's a nice little addition. I've never seen that in a ramen before. There's also some bamboo. One big piece hiding under here. Actually, it might be a mushroom. I'm gonna try it. It's a mushroom. So a bit of fungi in there. This is an absolute joy.
Remember, as Thomas said, it is almost mandatory to slurp your ramen. So it cools down the ramen, it enhances the flavour of the broth, and it shows your appreciation. And you just feel so good slurping because it is so delicious. My goal is just layer upon layer of freshness. Even though miso ramen originated in Hokkaido, where they needed a heavier broth because it was cold in that region, it tastes like spring to me because I've just found some lemon rind, so it's adding that citrusy tang to the broth. I've got the fresh peas, I've got spring onion, which is just so crisp and tender. I am loving this miso style. We both loved our miso ramen. It was so fresh, so light, so full of flavour. Osaka's ramen game is epic and we are kicking goals today. The name of that restaurant is a little bit muddled, so we'll pop details below. We couldn't finish our Osaka ramen crawl with anything other than a bowl of tonkotsu ramen. We're at Muteppou to try their crazy thick tonkotsu ramen. And holy moly, the broth is so thick, it's like a gravy. It is nuts. I can't wait to try it. It is, it's like a gravy. It is so thick. So tonkotsu ramen is where the broth is made out of pork bones that have been boiled for hours and hours. This is just killer. It is, honestly, I can't tell you. There's actually bits of meat in the broth. These noodles are crazy thick. They're just coated in the broth. Remember to slurp because that cools the noodles, enhances the flavour. I can't tell you how crazy good this broth is. I've added loads of spring onion because you can choose the level of spring onion you want. I ordered heaps. I've added an egg. You can choose the like al dente-ness of the noodles, so I ordered hard noodles because I don't want it to sit in the broth too long and get soft. Holy moly, this is nuts.
I've ordered exactly the same dish as Sheena. One thing she didn't mention is you can also choose how thick you want your broth. There were 3 steps. We went for the richest and thickest broth. So I'm just going to try the broth because, oh, it's so thick. It's really sweet. It's not as rich as I was anticipating actually. It's really sweet. It's totally like a gravy, like Sheena said, but less fatty and oily tasting. It's super interesting. I think what we're finding when we have this style of ramen is we have to add things to bring it up to the flavour that we really want to get. And I think there's some ginger and some sort of pickled veg with chili and stuff here on the table. There's sesame seeds. I'm going to add some condiments and then wolf this bowl back.
A whole lot of this pickled vegetable which has chili through it, and it's just really ramped up the spice levels of the tonkotsu ramen, which I love. I've also added pickled ginger, which really gives it a bit of tang and just cuts through the thickness of the broth. This is one delicious, and it's going to be a really satisfying bowl of tonkotsu ramen.
And we are totally ramened out. What a day. We're gonna rank them, I think. Well, I'm going to. Do you want to rank them?
Yeah.
Okay, for me, very simple. Number 1, number 2, number 3. In the order we had them. Number 1 and number 2, clearly out front. Clearly. Number 3 was caught in the race, tying its shoelaces, you know, chatting with the crowd. Just came up the rear, didn't really care about the win. Not so good. Still great.
Yeah.
But those first 2 blew my mind.
They were life-changing. Like that first bowl at Yashichi especially, I'm going to be dreaming about that bowl of ramen for the next God knows how long.
That's the sort of dish that we've done this, we would travel from anywhere in the world to a country or a city for some food. And we have done it, and we would do it again for that particular bowl of ramen because unbelievably good. Incredible. What a way to start the day. And we are now chock-a-block having finished the day of ramens. So I think we need to head home to bed.
Collapse. Coma out.
Collapse. My hand's on my tummy right now and I feel like my tummy is about 4 inches further out than it was this morning.
I've got the food sweats going on.
What a day. Remember, all details below for those restaurants so you can try them if you want to. So worth it.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope we've inspired you to eat and explore like a traveller, not a tourist.
Sayonara!